The following presentation is intended for mature audiences only and contains elements that are not suitable for some audience members. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Petty Details, where the crew gallivants down a tree-lined lane of conversation on all kinds of different subjects. Join the crew as they jump in the Wayback Machine in the quest for nuggets of knowledge. Our journey will allegedly drop some petty details on you that you didn't know you needed to know until now. Hello, and welcome to Petty Details.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Monica and Cam.
What's up?
Hi.
So, as always, please subscribe, and we have new merch. Are you guys ready?
Woohoo!
It's perfect for fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cozy. Oh my goodness.
It is the Petty Details hoodie.
Hoodies. I'm so ready for hoodie weather.
Yes, and it is kind of a not like a super lightweight one, but it's, perfect for fall.
Very
Being
nice.
outside. Yeah. Soft. I like it. Cam,
Nice.
what are you wearing?
Every time you ask it that way.
Just a thought, not a fact.
Cam 2024.
That's right. So if you want any of this merch, let us know.
Yes.
And as always, please comment. We love to see your comments.
Heck yeah.
Let
Give
us know
us
what
some
you want to know
ideas.
about.
What do you want to hear about?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna do a Dicks of History.
Yes.
Oh.
Bum bum bum.
Even more.
Yeah.
One of these is gonna be a twist, and it's just gonna be. Never mind.
It's just gonna be a twist, though. I'm ready for a plot twist.
Yeah, there's always a plot twist.
Always.
So
every time.
Who are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about one of the major geniuses / villains of the music business.
Not Todd.
But I was going to say it's
Todd.
not. No, because he's not a villain. He's not a villain.
Not villain Todd. Yes.
No. We are going
in
to
the
get
music industry.
Yes.
Okay.
So
there's a couple dicks there.
No, there were
one
quite
or two.
A few dicks. Yeah.
Handful of dicks.
Handful of dicks.
I feel like this is gonna veer off track very quickly if we keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are going to get into the crazy that is Phil Spector.
Phil Spector. Why do I know that name?
Okay.
So we have touched on him before in the Milli Vanilli episode. But I really want to get into some of the his own episodes that made him go from famous to infamous.
The specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into those petty details there, Meg. Let's do it.
We are going to go in the Wayback Machine.
Whoa!
The 30s.
This one had anticipation.
Yeah. So Phil Spector was born Harvey Philip Spector in December 1939 in the Bronx. His dad was a Russian immigrant, and his mom was a seamstress.
All right.
His
Humble
dad.
Beginnings.
Yes.
Wait.
What?
Was his mom also Russian?
No, I don't think so.
It's just you gave the nationality of one, and then you were like, "Hey, his mom was a seamstress." And I was like, "Oh,"
and that's what she was.
Yeah.
Well, that's because there's not much to say about his dad because he ended up taking his own life when Phil was just 9.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
not much history there.
Yeah.
Nope.
His mom moved Phil and his sister Shirley to Los Angeles in 1953.
Okay.
And Phil started getting into
States. That's crazy.
Yeah. And Phil started getting into music in his early teenage years. He started to learn the guitar.
Okay.
And he also branched out into some other instruments like the piano. And Phil is also starting to dabble in songwriting.
Okay.
And as teenagers do, he decides he wants to form a band. So he gets together with Marshall Lieb, Annette Kleinbard, and Sandy Nelson, and he forms the group the Teddy Bears.
He needs an outlet for all his angst.
Yeah.
All his teenage angst.
Yeah. Although the song he writes that he gets famous for is not
angsty.
It's not angsty.
Okay.
Called the Teddy Bears.
yeah, he is really getting into this song he wrote for his mother
Okay.
called To
Oh, that's
Know Him
sweet.
Is to Love Him.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
And
innocent enough.
yeah, and it's a very innocent 50s song.
Very nice song. Okay.
Hmm. And he somehow gets the group an audition at Era Records, and the group records the song at the Gold Star Studios for $75.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay.
And you do
Big
know this song.
bucks.
If you hear this song, you know the song.
Hmm.
And the song is released in 1958. It ends up in being a number one hit, and it stays on the Billboard Hot 100 for 23 weeks, and it sells over
Wow.
2.5 million copies.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So at 19 years old, Phil has written, sung on, played on, arranged, and produced a best-selling record.
Okay.
Wow.
Nothing
Yeah.
to sneeze at there.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is where his genius comes in. It's kind of a badass, right?
Okay.
Um, and this kind of instant fame goes to his head early on, though.
I could see that.
Yeah.
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 19, that's a lot to
Yeah,
have accomplished at such a young age.
and I think he was
Right.
already trending toward this kind of,
Okay.
and this
Behavior.
just made it worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the teddy bears can't really replicate the first success, so they end up breaking up in 1959. But Phil isn't discouraged by this one hit wonder. He just keeps writing songs.
Hmm.
So he co writes a song for Ben E. King called Spanish Harlem, which you also know.
Okay.
Okay. Cam, I'm telling you, if you heard these songs, you'd probably know them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And he's even working as a session guitarist and has a solo on the Drifters on Broadway.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So
So
during the
he's
early,
racking up his resume.
yeah. So during the early couple years of the 60s, Phil is really like honing his skills as a producer. And he starts this record company with this guy, Lester Sill, who was the manager of the Coasters. And you know the
Okay.
Coasters because you know that they sang Yakety Yak, Don't Talk Back.
Okay. I was like, no, I know their
I
name,
know
but
that
yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm telling you,
Cool.
like, you know these songs. If you
Yeah.
heard
Once you
them, you
hear
know
them, yeah, if you
them.
hear them, you'll know exactly which one. But Yakety Yak, okay, I didn't realize
That's
that was the
right.
name of the band.
Right.
It was the
Right.
Coasters. Okay.
And so Lester Sill and Phil end up signing the Crystals, who we've talked about before on the Milli Vanilli episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the Crystals were a girl group. If you have not heard the Milli Vanilli episode, you can go back after this one, but I'm going to tell you what happens anyway.
Please watch Meg's thesis.
Please
It
watch
Yes.
Meg's
it
It's her
feeds her
thesis.
soul.
dissertation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. It's her
But
dissertation.
they are a girl group. They had hits like He's a Rebel and
Hmm.
Did You Run Run?
Yep.
And then he kissed me. Yeah. Um, but the girls in this group are young. They're like 16-year-old girls here, right?
Okay.
And their
Oh.
first single, There's No Other Like My Baby, was literally recorded after their prom, and they were still wearing their dresses when they recorded it.
No way. Oh my
What?
gosh.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So we got you a recording slot, but here's the deal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We can
You're gonna have to come in at
only
11
do it.
p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. After your prom.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
man.
Wow.
But this is where Phil starts his shady bullshit.
Mm,
Oh.
And like I said, we talked about this already. But by 1963, he has also signed this group called The Blossoms with lead singer Darlene Love.
okay.
And
Okay.
he keeps promising them songs, The Blossoms and Darlene
Okay.
Love.
Mm-hmm.
One of these songs was He's a Rebel.
Okay.
So Phil
Gotcha.
finds out that this other lady, Vicky Carr, was going to record the song as her debut single for another record label. And Phil really wants the song to make money for him first.
Oh, jeez.
Well, the Crystals can't record that song that second
Right.
because they're
Mm-hmm.
16.
Right. They
Right.
were probably in school.
Right.
Yeah.
So
They're like, I
Phil,
got math class. I
yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
And I think also that they were across the country.
Oh, yeah.
I think I
Oh.
remember saying that. But Phil calls in the Blossoms to record the song instead.
Oh.
Dang.
Well, he doesn't really tell either the Blossoms or the Crystals what he's doing.
Well, of course not.
So he sends the song out to the radios as a Crystal song.
Oh, no way.
Oh.
Yeah. And the Blossoms' Darlene Love is like, WTF?
That's my
Right.
vocals. Thank you very much.
And the Crystals
Yeah.
are like, WTF?
Those aren't my
We're not
vocals.
Right. But it goes to #1 on the charts. And somehow nobody says anything
As a Crystals hit.
as a Crystals hit.
This is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the Blossoms stick around, even though they keep getting screwed,
Hmm.
because they also sing the Crystals, He's Sure the Boy I Love.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Twice.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
they stick around. Like, that's the part I don't get.
Yeah.
Like, this is like
yeah.
your career. Like, this is yeah.
Well, I think part of it is you're signed to a contract, so like what are you gonna do? But
yeah, that's true.
so the Blossoms also sang backup on the Righteous Brothers, You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin',
Okay.
and backing vocals on the Monster Mash,
Love the Monster Mash.
Johnny Angel,
Whoa.
and Be My Baby for the Ronettes. So you know their voices.
Dang. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
But this whole time, Darlene Love, who is singer of the Blossoms, is getting some weird vibes from Phil.
Now?
Like yeah. Well, like this whole time, she's kind of like, they're friends, but he keeps screwing her on these songs, right?
Right.
Like one time she goes to the studio and somebody says that he has a gun and he's waving it around in the studio. So she's like,
What?
I'm leaving. So
I'm
she
getting the-
leaves.
Yeah, I'm getting
Yeah.
out of here.
And he
Dude's crazy.
calls
Okay.
her, asking her where she's at, and she tells him she won't record until the gun's gone. And this is going to become a theme with him.
Oh gosh.
Of the gun?
Yes.
Oh boy.
There's also stories around this time where Phil will release a song, get pissed off at the artist, and pull the record off the radio.
Oh.
Dang.
And at this time, if there's no radio play, there's no song.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
Wow.
You're done.
Talk about
if it's
messing
not
with
on the
people's
radio.
careers.
Oh yeah. He's
He
a
likes the
villain.
power
Oh
of
yeah.
control. Like
Yeah, I was gonna
he
say
likes that.
he's a control freak for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Darlene finally has a falling out with Phil over the songs, and she leaves the label in about 1964. Okay.
Okay.
And he actually has the balls to go around to other record companies and tell them that they can't record her because she is still under contract with him.
Oh.
But
loves
Darlene
this.
gets around it because she's just singing backup vocals on these albums and not singing lead.
Right.
Okay. Loophole.
Mm-hmm.
But
Uh-oh.
Phil even goes so far to screw over Darlene that one night she goes on Late Night with David Letterman, and he calls the producers saying that she can't sing the song Christmas Baby Please Come Home, which has been written and produced by Phil, or he'll sue.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like
Jeez.
he's something else.
Yeah.
And petty detail, Cher actually sang backup vocals on the Christmas Baby Please Come Home song in 1963.
Really?
Really?
Backup vocals? Share? Wow.
Yeah.
Backup. That's what I was going to say. Backup vocals is
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
So by
Oh.
1963, the Crystals are pissed at Phil.
Hmm.
They've had some hits, but like half of them they aren't actually singing on.
It's not actually them.
Right. And they're
Right.
trying to get this album together called The Crystals Sing the Greatest Hits. And Phil decides to supplement the Crystals singing yet again with another group, his newest pet project, the Ronettes.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
What?
These poor artists.
Was he just not happy with their vocals, or like
Partly. I know that on some of the other ones, he was having trouble like getting them in to record. And so
Okay.
he was like, well, I want to release this song next week, so I'm getting somebody else to sing it. And I'm just gonna
Whoever's available now to sing it, like
Mhm.
Right.
we'll have to do, but
Yeah, I
We'll just
don't
slap a different person's face
know.
on it.
Yeah, I don't know
right.
about the greatest hits one though. But
Okay,
yeah, like
yeah.
seriously, half of the songs on that greatest hits album are not them singing, and you cannot find that album anywhere. Like
Because
it
it's
is
not them.
not out there. It's That's not true. The songs are out there,
Okay.
but now they're all labeled as a Ronette song or
Okay, they've
Oh,
actually been like
given,
redistributed under
yeah.
yeah,
the
but they are
correct
not
vocal.
under like if you go and search the Crystals sing the greatest hits, it's not a thing.
Wow.
Wow.
So that album isn't really a thing because all those songs are
Not
by other
really theirs,
Not
people.
yeah.
the crystals. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Dang.
also by this time, Lester has left the company, the record company that he started with Phil. So Phil
Okay.
has free reign.
Oh, geez.
And he's
Unchecked.
Great.
totally focused on the Ronettes. Now, Phil has married the singer of another group he had formed called the Spectors 3, and her name was Annette Mirar. I might have that wrong, last name wrong. But he sees the Ronettes at a show in San Francisco where there's a group that he's producing,
Mm-hmm.
and that group is the Righteous Brothers.
Huh.
So the Righteous Brothers are performing at this show in San Francisco, and he
Yep.
sees the Ronettes who are also performing at the show.
Okay.
So by 1966, he's like totally obsessed with the Ronettes.
Yikes.
And he basically
Okay.
drops the Righteous Brothers contract because he's bored with them.
Bored with the righteous. Okay.
Bored with the Righteous Brothers.
Seems a little ridiculous, but all right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he also drops his wife and starts cheating with the lead singer of the Ronettes, Ronnie.
I was gonna say it did
Oh,
not seem like it was gonna last long for that marriage
yeah.
because
It seemed like
No.
it was leading there.
yeah,
Yeah.
artists and
Um,
producers always have such great relationships.
yeah. Also in 1966, Phil has signed Ike and Tina Turner to his label,
Okay.
where he does some great
Okay.
work with them, including the song River Deep Mountain High,
Mm-hmm.
which he always
Mm-hmm.
considered his best work.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he divorces
Amazing
his
song.
first wife by this time. He's getting like super obsessive about Ronnie.
Eesh.
Yikes.
Like
Hey,
dangerous, obsessive.
well, yeah. I mean,
Mm,
yes. So
creepy.
he's still
He's
producing.
Phil.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
Or
that's
she is.
true.
he's Phil.
Duh.
He's still producing Ronette singles, and they're doing pretty well. They're even opening for the Beatles for the US tour.
Whoa.
Wow.
And you know them because a couple of their songs were in Dirty Dancing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Phil is getting weird and he won't allow Ronnie to tour. So her cousin Elaine has to stand in for her on the Beatles tour.
Oh my God.
That's wild. Like you said, like we said
Wow.
before, control freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's making money off this woman. So it's like, why are you even like, what are you
Gross.
doing?
It's
Yeah.
gross. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by 1967, the Ronettes have broken up, probably in good part because of Phil.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up marrying Ronnie in 1968.
Okay.
And he's declared that Ronnie can no longer perform
Poor Ronnie.
Poor
and
thing.
just
Poor
has
thing.
to
Yeah.
take care of the kids that they adopted.
Ugh. Gross.
Yeah. That.
It gets worse.
Oh, of course it does.
Somehow.
So, petty detail.
Mhm.
Phil had actually surprised Ronnie with two adopted kids in 1968 for Christmas, like they were puppies.
No! Ew, no, that's so
He
gross.
adopted kids and did what?
That's
Mm-mm.
disgusting. That's so
No,
gross.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
No,
Pro tip,
not the
that's never a good idea.
Can
no.
you believe that?
No,
That's
That
absolutely
ridiculous.
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Here's
Right.
Jimmy and
Susie.
Samantha. Like,
Yeah.
like what?
I
Oh,
can't even
Ugh.
that
like, I
is
mean,
awful.
good for
Honestly,
adopting kids, but what?
Right.
Like, I
yeah,
don't.
like great for adopting kids. Like, okay,
Guaranteed,
great, but those
guaranteed
poor
he had
kids,
bows on
like,
them.
Oh,
Guaranteed he had
probably.
bows on
Yeah,
them.
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
So Ronnie can't even record, and they are both living a very reclusive lifestyle. Like, she is not allowed out of the house, kind of thing.
Oh,
He's
poor
got their
woman.
house surrounded by barbed wire and guard dogs.
Oh my God. Okay, this is
Wow.
control like
I was gonna say
to the
there's
Oh,
something
this
maximum.
else
a whole nother
like
level.
feeding this. Like this is
Right.
paranoia
Right.
to
Yes.
a whole different
Absolutely.
level.
Oh, you don't even know. So he even starts to take her shoes so she won't leave.
She's already like she can't even go
What?
outside into the yard.
Right.
This is
Oh,
this is insane.
also shoes. Not having shoes wouldn't stop me. Well, I don't mind going outside barefoot, is what I'm trying to say.
Well,
Right,
he
right.
even makes her drive around with a dummy of himself in her car when she actually is allowed outside.
So
Oh,
he's like
like
jealous, like he's like doesn't want anybody. Yeah.
yeah,
He
He's
doesn't even want
insecure is
anybody
what he
looking
is.
at her. Yeah, like,
Right. He's
because
insecure.
because he knows what a piece of shit he is, and
Yeah.
given the
Yeah.
first chance, she'd be.
so there is a
Ugh,
story where he supposedly allegedly
Oh,
allegedly.
had a gold coffin put in the basement and showed it to her, telling her that he would kill her if she tried to leave.
oh
Oh
my.
Yeah.
God, you weren't joking when you said it got worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Dang.
he's also doing things like releasing music she's recorded over the years in little trickles.
Oh,
I'm
ew.
getting fed up with him. Getting fed up with him
Right?
so quickly. Like, what?
Yeah,
I
who's a
just
freaking villain? Like,
literal.
Seriously.
top-notch villain.
He doesn't even
Mm-hmm.
deserve a shirt. God.
Nope.
So by 1970, Phil's pretty famous. He's had some huge hits. And he's made this really unique producing technique that was called the wall of sound. And this is where he's a genius.
Okay.
This makes the records he's producing like really rich in sound. He's using up to 44 microphones,
Okay.
and he's got multiple instruments like guitars, electric and acoustic playing the same parts at the same time.
Hmm.
And he's using orchestra instruments and making like these mini little symphonies, like these rock symphonies.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you actually listen to the stuff that he's producing
Mm-hmm.
versus the other stuff that was out there at this time, it sounds totally different.
Right.
Right.
It's a truly unique sound.
Yes.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he also is using like these amazing session artists who, I mean, crazy stuff. Like they were the actual band for the Monkees, I believe. I believe it was the Monkees.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like when the Monkees didn't play their own music, it was these
Mm-hmm.
session artists. Like
Right.
these session artists are badass.
Dang. Okay.
Wow.
Um, and they were called the Wrecking Crew, I believe.
Hmm.
But people really want this guy to produce their records because he's good, right?
Right. I was
And
gonna say
Yeah.
because he's a genius when it comes to the technical stuff.
On
Yeah.
yeah,
paper, yeah. On paper,
yeah.
Yeah.
he looks very nice. Yeah.
And they probably don't know what's going on with Ronnie,
Well, no,
Right.
behind closed
Right.
doors, right? Like
right?
he probably keeps that
No,
buttoned
no
up
one can because
super
he has her
tight.
locked up at the house. Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah.
So he is recording solo tracks for the Beatles, George Harrison and John Lennon.
Wow.
Like he's big time,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he even produced a version of the Beatles album Let It Be,
Hmm.
which ended up pissing off Paul McCartney. Said Phil was
Mm,
trying to take over the band, which
he's probably not
not
wrong.
wrong, right?
Right.
So, um, John Lennon ends up defending Phil in the Rolling Stone saying, quote, he was given the shittiest load of badly recorded shit with a lousy feeling toward it ever. And he made something out of it. He did a great job.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah. And he
He
did.
didn't hold back his words.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the hard part, right? Is like, yeah, he did good work because again, he was a genius when it came to the technical stuff and the sound.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's frustrating
He's just
because
a horrible person.
Right.
yeah,
But he's a total dick of history, right?
exactly.
Exactly.
And it gets worse. So, um,
Oh,
as always. So he's also really like erratic during this time.
Okay.
There are multiple stories, as we've already heard, of him pulling guns on people in the studio during recording sessions.
Yeah.
And he's getting so unreliable by 1972 that George Harrison fires him.
damn.
And Harrison would say later that at one point he had to climb down from the roof of the hotel to get Spector to come out of his room.
What?
And that Spector would need, quote, 18 cherry brandies before he could get himself down to the studio.
Oh my gosh.
Dude's got a problem, bro.
Could you
Yeah.
imagine George Harrison climbing down from the freaking roof of a hotel to get his producer
No.
who's getting drunk? Like what?
Goodness. Who has to get drunk in order to go do his job?
Right.
Right.
Jeez.
So meanwhile, Ronnie has had enough. And in 1972, she is able to escape Phil with the help of her mom.
Oh, thank goodness.
But she leaves with literally nothing, not even shoes.
That's crazy.
Mm.
It's just wild.
What
And
about the
he,
kids?
of course, doesn't make divorce easy on her.
Well, no.
She has to sign over custody of the kids.
Ugh.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
After forcing her
Mhm.
to
To
alone
take
take care
care
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Build a connection with the kids that you have surprised her with and then take them away from her.
Mhm.
Well, yes, because, control.
And apparently they did not live great lives with him.
I'm sure they didn't.
There was all kinds of stories about that I won't even get into because they were rough.
Ooh.
Yikes. But can you imagine? Like, of course
No.
they're going to be rough. This guy's fucking crazy.
He's
Right.
messed up. Yeah.
So she signs over the kids and gets about $25,000 and some alimony.
That's it.
That's all.
Ugh.
And remember, by this time, he's basically ruined her career.
Right.
And her life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So she's left with nothing.
Uh-huh.
So in 1973, Phil starts another project with John Lennon, but it's going badly. He's
Shocker.
partying hard. His arrangements are just like chaos. He's got all these guns in the studio, and he ends up even firing a shot at one point when Lennon is recording.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And that
Let's
ends
give this drunk
the
guy a
project.
gun.
Right.
Right.
So that ends the project, although Spector is just enough of an asshole that he holds the tapes until June of the next year when Lennon has to reimburse him to get the tapes.
Oh,
That's cruel.
this guy, just
Right?
By now, these stories have to be known, and people
Oh yeah.
have to be sort of canceling him in a way,
Sort
right?
of, but well, yeah, kind of.
Like,
but the problem is that he's still really good. Like he's still
Right.
known for this really rich sound. He's got really good ideas. And so some people
I
are
feel like
kind
you
of
don't
willing
really get
to put up with it.
You don't really get canceled in the 70s, right? You
well,
just,
no, but I mean,
people are just
for
kind of like
the time, canceled for what it was
I
during the 70s.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
will say he is not putting out as many hits as he was
Okay.
before.
Right.
Because he's also kind of ruined his own career by this kind of bullshit, right?
By being a dick.
Right.
Karma's kind of coming back.
Kind of. But it's more like he's been reclusive than
Okay.
he's being an asshole because everybody knew he was an asshole before and they just didn't care.
Gotcha.
Right.
So, in 1974, Phil gets into a really bad crash, like a car accident that almost kills him. He
Hmm.
gets thrown through his windshield and ends up with more than 300 stitches to his face and 400 stitches to the back of his head after hours of surgery.
Ooh,
But
rough.
he's still producing in collaboration with Warner Brother Records and working with people like Cher.
Jeez.
So he's still
Damn.
getting big names.
Yeah.
Right.
So in 1979, he records the Ramones album, End of the Century, which
Okay.
has some of their most successful singles, like Rock and Roll High School.
Hmm.
And when the Ramones first met Spector, he was like goofy, kind of relaxed. But like we said, he already had this reputation for kind of being an asshole and just like controlling and just weird.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like he was known to wear a cape and dark glasses and drink wine from a goblet. That's just a normal thing.
Eccentric, like very odd eccentric
Yeah,
behavior, but also not very surprising.
right.
He's like, oh, look at me. I'm quirky. I'm weird.
Yeah,
Right.
that's kind of exactly how he is. Yeah. But
Right.
the Ramones come out later and say that Phil pulled a gun on Dee Dee Ramone when he tried to leave a
Jeez.
session after a really long night of recording. And apparently Dee Dee looked at Spector and said, "What are you going to do? Shoot me? Go ahead. I'm leaving. Goodbye." And he left.
Mm.
Period.
Call a
Exactly.
bluff. Call a bluff,
Yeah.
bro. Yep.
Exactly. And by
Especially there's not even
now,
bullets in that gun.
Yeah, right.
right. And by now, the records that he's producing, although they're pretty good, they're being criticized for their commercial sound by like hardcore fans of the bands that he's producing for.
Oh, okay, like they've sold out almost.
Right. So like the
Gotten
Ramones
to
and Leonard Cohen, they were like, this is not, especially like the Ramones. This
it's
is
too
not what we're used
mainstream.
to. Yeah, same thing with
Yeah.
Leonard Cohen. They're like, we're used to this sound and you're doing this.
Right.
But they
Hmm.
were commercial hits, so I mean, like if
Yeah,
that's what they were looking for, then they got what they wanted.
Right.
But
true.
Spector had also gone way over budget on the album for the Ramones, which didn't go over very well. Like way over budget.
Dang.
So throughout the
Yikes.
80s and 90s, he's really like coasting on his previous fame. He's
Mm.
not producing anything. He's basically a recluse. And in 1989, he's inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by Tina Turner, who he had recorded for.
Right.
Hmm.
In 1997, he's inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and in 2000, he received the Grammy Trustees Award.
Wow.
Dang.
Don't think he's letting go of his grudges
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
would he?
Right.
He's
Seriously,
a
because,
like,
repeat offender.
well, and what control would that give him if he let it
oh,
go?
yeah,
Right.
you are not gonna believe some
Mm.
of the shit that happens later. Okay, so, um, in 1994, he writes a letter to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame saying that the Ronettes should not be nominated because they aren't a proper recording act and haven't contributed enough to music.
His own Ronettes
Yeah.
that he was obsessed with.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's how pissed off he is
Right.
after 30 years. She left him in 1974, I think. This is
Yeah.
1994. Like, get
Let that
over it.
shit go,
Or what is
bro.
that, 20 years?
Literally.
Yeah, come
20
on.
years, yeah.
Seriously.
Some
Jeez.
people can hold a grudge that long. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
forgive and forget type of thing. Like,
no,
just
he
move
does
on
not.
with this type of stuff. Like,
No.
He
Evidently, he
does
is
not.
fueled by rage and grudges
Yeah, and Cherry
no.
Brandy. So in
and cherry brandy.
2003, he meets Lana Clarkson. And Lana is a 40-year-old actress slash model. She is
Okay.
born in 1962 in California, and she starts modeling in the early 80s.
Okay.
She gets her first minor role in 1982's Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
Hmm.
and she's even an extra in Scarface in 1983.
Okay.
Oh.
By the end of 1983, she's started starring in these films where she's like a warrior. So the first one is called Death Stalker.
Okay.
Okay.
And then in 1985, she does Barbarian Queen.
Okay.
And these aren't
Is it giving like is it Xena?
Xena,
kind of, yeah.
warrior.
The
Okay.
warrior princess? Yeah.
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 Kind of giving that. Okay.
Yeah. But these aren't A-list movies, but she is
Hmm.
getting parts, right?
Yeah.
And then in 1987, she gets a role in John Landis's Amazon Women of the Moon and does the sequel to Barbarian Queen. So she's
Okay.
kind of being
Okay.
typecast at this point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but she's working. So she's getting these kind of B movie roles throughout the 80s and 90s, but she's also doing some TV too, where she'll get small parts in shows like Night Court,
Okay.
Three's Company,
Yep.
Knight
Okay.
Rider, and Wings.
Great shows. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's well known enough to be a hit at like the Comic Cons where she does some promotional appearances.
Yeah. Those are all
Hmm.
pretty niche, like movie roles and TV roles
Yeah.
that like I could see where, yeah, she
Yep.
would do really well at those conventions.
Yeah.
Exactly. And she's also doing commercial work for like Mercedes, Kmart, Nike, Mattel. And she's
Okay.
modeling too around the world
Okay.
because she's
Okay.
she's like this tall blonde.
Yeah.
I mean,
Triple
she's
Bombshell.
threat.
really pretty, yeah.
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 So by the time she's approaching her 40s, though, she realizes that she's made a living off of being a sex symbol.
Right.
Okay.
And by the time you're hitting your 40s, you know that's not going to last. And she really
Right.
wants to do more like comedy.
Okay.
Hmm.
So she starts working on stand-up comedy. So she's working
Oh
on this
boy.
act and she's trying to like really promote this. So she puts together this reel of skits that she's written and starred in, and it's called Lana Unleashed, and she starts sending those around to the casting people.
Okay.
Okay.
But obviously, bit parts aren't really paying the bills
Mm-mm.
because
No.
they don't. So, like
No.
most actors slash models in California, she has to take a job as a waitress.
Okay.
So she starts working at the House of Blues in West Hollywood in 2003. And
Okay.
unfortunately for her, she meets Phil Spector at the House of
Mm.
Blues on February 3rd,
Poor
2003.
child. Yeah.
Right.
And they get to talking, and somehow he ends up talking her into coming back to his place after work, after
Ew.
her work. And he
Yeah.
lives in this place called the Pyrenees Castle in Alhambra.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And his limo drives them both to his house, where she goes inside for a drink, and the driver stays outside.
He's
Okay.
really putting lipstick on this pig.
He
Like
really
it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's not inside for very long when the driver hears a gunshot.
I was gonna say scream.
Oh my
And
Gunshot.
he sees Phil leave the house through the back door where he tells the driver, I think I just shot her.
god.
I think I just shot her. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But by the
Oy.
time that the cops get there, Lana is dead, and Phil has changed his story to say that she committed suicide by accident.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So many holes in the story. Okay.
Already, yeah. And I haven't even
Yeah.
gotten to the evidence. So,
I was gonna say this is like the first retelling of a story, even.
yeah,
Let's not get into how many times he's going to have to repeat his story.
yes. And
Right.
his story is not going to make sense when you
Oh
hear this.
gosh.
So,
They never
the,
do.
the way her
No.
body is positioned, the gun is laying under her leg. So she's
Well,
like
yeah,
sitting
because
in this
yeah.
chair. Yeah, and the gun is under her leg on this chair.
Yeah, so
I mean, isn't that how
how would it
you
be?
would shoot yourself? Is, through your leg or like under
Yeah.
your leg?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense.
Well, I was gonna say, why do people think they can get away with stuff like that?
Because he's Phil Spector,
Mhm.
he's gotten away
Well,
with
that's
everything
true.
so far.
Good
So
point.
the blood spatter, which is on Phil's white jacket, is showing that he was close to the shot when it occurred.
Okay.
Hmm.
Phil's DNA is also on Lana's chest. And Lana's purse is on her shoulder like she was about to leave.
I was gonna say like she had put it on to walk out the
Oh,
door.
Yeah,
my
and I don't know about
goodness.
you, but
Huh.
if I'm gonna shoot myself and through my leg, and which she
I'm not
didn't, there
putting.
was not a hole in her leg, just so you
I'm
know.
not gonna
Right,
bother to put my
right,
purse on.
Right,
Like
like
I'm gonna
what?
walk out the
right.
door. Yeah.
Yeah. So, his story, all of this evidence, his initial statement, and voicemails that he left for two friends in between him talking to the limo driver and
The
talking to the
cops getting
cops
called.
that all said the same thing, which is, I think I just shot her. It's pretty
Wow.
obvious that there is no way that what he said happened.
Right.
Right.
She, she committed suicide by
Forensically, it makes no
accident.
sense. Yeah.
No, like it's
She
not
accidentally sat on the gun, it went off and shot her. Like, what?
Right.
right. Yeah, like the angles don't match up. It's not
Yeah.
a thing. Like there's no way this
No.
happened.
Right.
So petty detail, Johnny Ramone later said, I quote, after he shot that girl, I thought, I'm surprised that he didn't shoot someone every year.
Hmm.
I'm
With how
kind of
many times
surprised
guns were
myself.
pulled. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
So,
that is a form of control.
oh yeah,
You
Yeah.
for
are
sure.
Intimidating and scaring. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So Phil is tried originally in 2007 for the murder, but there's a mistrial. And it gets
Of
worse.
course.
So in December of 2007, this douche attends the funeral of Ike Turner,
No.
who is a
Bro.
renowned wife beater.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well,
Disgusting.
like calls to like. So yeah, sure.
Right.
And he has the balls to speak at the funeral
Ew.
and
Just
say that Tina Turner's autobiography was, quote, badly written and, quote, demonized and vilified Ike, who made her who she was.
no.
Yeah, he
Oh,
says this
absolutely
at
not.
the
No.
freaking funeral.
Absolutely not.
Oh. He's got a brass set, that
Oh,
one.
yeah. Can you believe
Wow.
this guy? Like, I,
I
I have no
cannot believe that.
words. Ew.
That's
That's
insane.
disgusting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So while he's on bail, he has time for romance.
Of course he does.
And he marries
Why
his
not?
third wife, who is 26 years old.
Also, hey, I'm on what is it, parole or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm on bail for shooting a woman that I was romantically interested in.
Right.
Yeah, why don't you come over and date me? Like,
Yeah.
what?
You want to get married?
Right.
That's crazy.
And
Well,
this
I
was a
mean,
huge trial.
yeah.
This wasn't like, oh, you didn't know that
Right.
he was on trial. Like, you're going to
Right.
trial with him
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
It is highly publicized.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So he is tried again in 2008/2009, where he is found guilty of
Oh,
second
thank
degree
God.
murder,
Okay.
but he is sentenced to
But
19 to life.
okay.
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 And his poor kids come out
Oh
later
my
to
gosh,
say
these
that,
kids.
yeah, to say
Mm.
that when Ronnie, well, probably beforehand too, but especially after Ronnie left, that
Yeah.
Phil had
Mm.
abused them and held them captive, which does not surprise me one bit.
Nope.
No.
Knowing the rest of the story,
Yeah.
nope. Zero surprise there.
Right. Right.
And you'd think that Phil doesn't have his balls anymore being in prison, but he does.
Mm.
And he ends up divorcing his third wife while he's in prison in 2018, citing irreconcilable differences.
One of us being in prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a douchebag, yeah.
Right.
Right.
But power move on his part for him being the one, right?
This fucking
Ridiculous.
guy, right?
This guy, seriously.
He's still alive?
No. So his
Well, nope. Let me get there.
yeah, so his health started taking a turn for the worst in about 2013.
Okay.
And by
Okay.
2014, it was said that he had lost his ability to speak.
Damn.
So he was like in
Hey,
bad shape.
you know what?
Can't say
Karma's a
that I'm
bitch,
sad.
honestly.
I was gonna say, I'm
Right.
like, can't
Mhm.
say that I'm disappointed.
And then in 2020, he caught COVID while he was in prison and he ended up dying in 2021.
Dang.
Damn.
How old was he?
Let's see, he was born in 39, so
Holy crap.
it was what, 70, 80, something like
Yeah.
that. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
2021
80,
minus
almost 80
1900.
something.
82.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this douche lived 82 years.
Dang.
Yeah, so that is the craziness that is Phil Spector's life. And he
Yeah.
really is a true genius slash villain of the music
See,
industry.
Yeah.
and that's the worst part is that he's
Yep.
such a genius and he
Yeah.
did contribute so much to the music industry.
Yeah.
Could have contributed so much more
Mm-hmm.
Right.
if it weren't for him being a dick of history.
He's a dick of history.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Awful.
yep. Cam, there's a whole Phil Spector playlist that I expect you to listen to on Spotify.
It's your homework.
Okay.
But yeah, he did make like most of the songs that you would recognize probably a good
Yeah.
for you, I'm gonna say you're gonna recognize at least 50% of them. For Monica, I'm
Easily.
gonna say you're gonna recognize at least 80.
Oh, for sure. Well, even
Okay.
just the ones that you named off, I'm like, yep, know that one. Yep, know that one.
Mhm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Once you hear them, you'll
Yeah,
absolutely be
once you
like,
hear
oh,
him,
I
you
know
will.
that song. Yeah.
So,
Right.
but yeah, there you go. A
Crazy.
true dick of history.
Yeah.
Absolute villain.
That's putting it
Absolute villain.
mildly.
Yeah, every time that you think that it can't get worse with this guy, it gets worse.
It
It
did.
got worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
So much
I
worse.
usually pick stories where it does that, but this guy just keeps going and going and
He
Mhm.
doubled, triple, quadruple down every
I was
time.
gonna say, yeah, like it wasn't even a double down. You're right. He like
yeah.
quadrupled down.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There you have it. Stay petty, but not as petty as Phil Spector.
Seriously, don't hold
Right.
those grudges for 20 years because
Please
that just
don't.
Yeah.
And
it's gonna give
please
you
don't
wrinkles.
talk
Don't do
shit
it.
at somebody's funeral. Like,
Yeah.
Seriously.
don't.
Yeah, it's bad, just bad juju. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you don't want the wrinkles from holding
Mm-mm.
grudges.
Nope.
Right.
So poor
do
all the
it.
women that he ruined
Those
in his
Yeah.
kids.
lifetime.
Yeah,
Because he
the
ruined
two
Darlene
adopted
Love.
children. Do it.
He ruined Darlene Love. He
Yeah.
ruined Ronnie Spector. He ruined the Crystals.
Yep.
I think he did have a daughter because I think it was a boy and a girl. So,
Ugh.
and Lana Clarkson. And that's not
Wow.
counting all the ones that we probably don't know about.
Right.
Right.
Sort of on the periphery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Stay petty, my friends. Bye.
All
See
right.
ya.
Bye.